All right, there we go. Your record has been expunged. Your record has been expunged. Why would I talk about that? Why would that be the good old Monday morning kickoff quote, right? Your record has been expunged. To expunge just means to erase or remove completely, right? But let's talk about it for a moment, right? Why is that important? Why does that matter, right? First of all, I personally have had some interesting experience, right? Based on having a record, right? I wasn't always this polished. I wasn't always sharp and well spoken, right? I wasn't always this evolved. I wasn't always a clear and conscious thinker, right? I was a knucklehead. I was a clown. I was a product of North Philly, and I found myself in a lot of crazy situations, right? Got myself into a lot of crazy situations, and it's to God be the glory that I get to stand here right now, alive and well, and I don't look nor feel like anything that I experienced, right? So, well, why would I talk about this part, right? So, as I was going through my process, right, and I was trying to transition from one lifestyle, right, in the streets, chasing money, just living a wild and crazy life, and I found God and I began to transform my life, right? I wanted to be a better dad for my children. I wanted to be a good example, and I wanted to figure out, just how to live a different life. And so, because of the things that I got into, I kept going on interview after interview after interview, jobs that I was more than qualified for, right? Had the skill set, right? Had the energy, had the attitude, had the look. I was ready. But some companies, if you have a criminal record, they just don't work with you, right? Stay with me for a moment. I'm going somewhere, I promise. So you can go in, you can knock the interview out the park, you can floor the people, they can fall madly in love with you in the interview. But when you when you fill out the questionnaire, if you check yes that you have a criminal record, you're automatically disqualified. So, why would I talk about expungement this morning, right? Your record being expunged. What am I saying? I'm saying that, well, how does this apply to our lives, right? You've been forgiven, right? You've received a pardon, right? It's time to begin to act like it, right? Oftentimes, right, we still conduct ourselves as if, right, we're still stuck in yesterday, right? We still move throughout the world as if, right, as if we have not yet been forgiven. And oftentimes, if you're a believer, you believe that God forgives you. You want other people to forgive you, but you have yet to forgive yourself. And oftentimes that is what keeps us bound. It places limits on our lives, and it keeps us, it chokes the life out of us, right? Trust me. I used to be angry. I used to be frustrated. I've cried many days, right? I went to the car and cried because I knew that I could perform. I knew I could do the job. I knew I could do it. But I had that dark cloud hovering over me, right? I had that dark cloud hovering over me, and I was never given the opportunity to show what I was really made of. I was never given the opportunity, right, to perform in those areas. And so, as I was thinking about this, right, because I'm actually writing, I was basically writing my story. I'm compiling some things. I was thinking about this, and I'm like, wow, look at how that impacted my life. So anyway, so going through that process, right, or going through life, oftentimes we do things that aren't in our own best interest. We make poor choices, right? We put ourselves in some goofy predicaments, right? We make mistakes. We become products of our environment. We allow things to happen to us, right? Whatever it might be. And what we fail to do is forgive ourselves. What we fail to do is erase or remove that stain from our lives. And not only do we allow people to keep us in a box, But I don't even know why I said that, because that's not important. We keep ourselves in a box. We keep ourselves bound. We keep ourselves small because of errors in judgment from yesterday, right? We have our own dark cloud that we voluntarily carry around with us, right? That dark cloud of guilt, that dark cloud of unworthiness, that dark cloud of do I really deserve? Questioning everything, right? That dark cloud, we voluntarily carry that around with us because of the errors in judgment that we made yesterday. And so what I'm proposing this morning is that we begin to explore what forgiveness would really look like for ourselves. Not from other people, right? Because that comes next. That comes secondary, right? Because if I believe that if I forgive me, right, then it means that I have to release that dark cloud, because it's me holding it over my head. I'm not talking about what your wife is doing, or your husband is doing, or your cousins, or the people in the street, or the people at those companies that I talked about. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the dark cloud that I voluntarily carry around with me. I'm talking about how I limit myself because of the mistakes of yesterday. I'm talking about how I continue to make poor choices as if, right, I'm still that person from yesterday, simply because I was once that person from yesterday, right? I walk around as if I don't have access to, or if I'm not allowed to, or how do I want to say it, or if I don't deserve certain things. I don't deserve to be in certain rooms. I don't deserve certain opportunities because of what I had did in yesteryear. And again, so what I'm proposing is, what would your life look like if you were to grant yourself a pardon, right? What would that look like? And I know you're like, no, just think about it. Think about how you move. Let me not get ahead of myself, right? This is how I want to say it. The life that you desire, the things that you want for yourself, the life that you want to create for yourself is available to you as soon as you grant yourself a pardon, right? It's time for you to pardon yourself. It's time for you to expunge your record and start living like it. So it's like, think about whenever a president is about to leave office, right? There's always all these people who reach out to the president, right? And then they grant pardons to people, right? Sometimes they're still like in prison and such. Sometimes they're free, but they just have this record, and the president will sign off and boom. So what I'm proposing is, you grant yourself a pardon. You think about it. You have the executive power in your life. You have that fancy pen, and you get to sign your own pardon. You get to sign yourself out. Just think about how powerful that is. Think about how powerful you are. You have within you the ability to cut ties with that dark cloud that you've been voluntarily carrying. It's been like a parachute. You know how they strap it on, right? They have it all strapped on, boom, 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 and then they pull the cord and boom, and it just kind of hangs there and they drift down. A lot of us we have that dark cloud. We have those things. We have that strapped on us, and it creates limiting beliefs, right? And it keeps us in a box. It's like a straitjacket. No, I like that. It's more like a straitjacket. We put ourselves in a straitjacket, right? And this is how we're walking around. We want to reach out and grab some things. We believe that that's for us. We believe that this is my blessing. This is my gift. This is my thing. And I want to step into it, but I know you want to bless me, but I can't because I'm in this straitjacket. And if I just release myself, right? What would my life look like? I can totally transform my life if I grant myself a pardon, right? So why is that important? Or why do we struggle so much with forgiveness, right? With forgiving ourselves. Forgiving yourself is a gift. Give yourself the gift of forgiveness, right? Who are you minus the guilt? Who are you, right, without that straitjacket? What could you accomplish? Where could you go? What could you do? Who could you become, right, if you were to sign your own pardon and release that dark cloud, right? How do I want to say it, right? Pardon me, I had 38 thoughts at one time. I have to get them together so I can speak, right? is painful sometimes. But anyway, I appreciate y'all working with me. It's like this, right? Okay, here we go. So forgiveness, thank you, Lord. Forgiveness, just like an apology, is an action word. I'm going to say that again. Forgiveness, just like an apology, is an action word. Listen, apology requires changed behavior. If my wife and I are having an exchange, or if my wife brings something to my attention and I say, wow, sweetie, it never occurred to me that impacted you like that. I apologize, right? Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I really apologize. That won't happen again. That won't happen again. And then as I move forward, my new behavior needs to match what I said out of my face. So apologies require changed behavior. Don't just tell me you apologize if you're not going to change the behavior. So now, let's flip it over to forgiveness. Forgiveness requires changed behavior. If you and I are friends or we're in a relationship, right, and I forgive you, right, what do you expect? Don't you expect me to not continue to hold that thing over your head? Don't you expect that my forgiveness is granting us, is creating a space for us to continue on in a different manner, right? Don't you expect that my forgiveness requires me to change my behavior? But we don't do that with ourselves, right? Think about it. What would it look like if you granted yourself forgiveness and then your behavior changed to match? Think about that, right? Just like an apology, right, requires changed behavior, forgiveness requires changed behavior. I forgive you, so I'm not gonna be angry anymore. I forgive you, right? So I'm gonna give you another opportunity to fix it. I forgive you, right? So we're gonna move forward in this particular manner. I forgive you, so ... right? I forgive you, so, right? I'm telling you, so it requires a change behavior. So what if you grant yourself a pardon? What if you forgave yourself? And what if you began to move differently? How would that look and feel? Right? What would you do differently? Think about it. Okay. Think about your mental and emotional health. Think about how you treat yourself. Think about the thoughts you think, the words you speak, and the actions you take. How different would you move? How different would you show up? How different would you show up for you if you really forgave yourself, right? And started to adopt the behaviors that aligned with a person that you forgave, right? Think about that, right? Not feeling worthy. I'm sorry, let me look at this. Not feeling worthy, not understanding the true meaning of forgiveness and how freeing it is. Absolutely. Forgiveness is turning back to the original state, like the offense didn't happen, although we cannot erase our minds, but forgetting the offense is never bringing up forgiving the offense is never bringing up the offense again. Erase our minds, but forgetting the offense is never. Okay, right, exactly. So I'm glad you shared that, Adrian. So think about it, right? If I forgive me, why do I still feel like I'm unworthy? If I really forgive myself for those errors in judgment, why do I still show up as if I don't deserve the blessings that are in front of me? Right? If I truly forgive myself, right, why am I afraid to take those risks? Right? Think about it. Many times it's always what happened. It's not our potential. Our potential, right? Our desires, that doesn't stop us from jumping out there. What stops us is the crap from yesterday. So what I'm proposing is, if we expunge that record, if we grant ourselves a pardon, if we use our executive powers, right, and forgive ourselves, then what we're saying is, right, we're releasing ourselves of those past errors in judgment, of those past failures, of all of those things that we did yesterday, and we're allowing ourselves space to go forward. That's what I'm proposing this morning. That's what I'm proposing. Malik said, forgiveness of myself is definitely going to make changes to my actions. It's deep, because that's the goal, to make positive changes to my own actions. Absolutely. So think about that for a moment, right? And this is really good because it's yesterday that's interfering or interrupting my progress today, which is keeping me from getting where I need to get to tomorrow. So it's think about it. It's normally not today. The challenges that you face today, that's not generally what stops us. What stops us is we get to thinking and we get to reminiscing about yesterday. We keep reminding ourselves about all the times we got it wrong. We start reminding ourselves about our lack and about this and about that and about this and about that, right? So the challenge is the challenge is forgiving myself and my behaviors aligning with that. Right? Not because what are you doing? Why are you dragging that along with you? It's like that ball and chain, right? Why are you dragging that with you? When you forgive yourself, you release yourself of that and you free yourself to move forward. So it's funny, right? When you go through those, I was talking about the job process, the interview process, and when you're filling out the application, it's funny because when they would ask, have you been convicted of a felony? And I would have to check yes. Right? And when you check no, you just continue on with the application. You just continue on like nothing is wrong. But when you check yes, the system takes you somewhere else. And now it takes you to a place where you have to explain. You have to provide an explanation. You have to provide paperwork. I have copies of my court records now because I would always have to provide them when I was on my job hunt. So forgiveness is when I can check the no box and just keep moving forward because that's not me. I'm still condemning myself for what I had did yesterday. That's essentially what was happening during that process. So when I check no, it's just on to the next question. All right, cool, boom, 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 and you just keep it going. But as soon as I check the yes box, the system's like, whoa, red flag, boom, tell us all about it. When did it happen? Why did it happen? What was this? What was that? And I got to type out this explanation, right? And then it says, okay, please attach the paperwork. Bring in the paperwork, blah, blah, blah. So I got to bring in the court documents and show when the case finished, what the case was, and blah, blah, blah. And I got to make up this cool explanation. And I do all of that just to get to the end. And they say, well, unfortunately, due to, right? So imagine that we're doing that to ourselves, right? What if we just stop checking the yes box and just continue to go forward? Stop making decisions today based on the errors and judgment that you made yesterday. What would that look like? Right? Look at what Malik said. Forgiveness of myself is definitely going to make changes to my actions. Right? The goal is to make positive changes to my own actions. So when I forgive myself, I'm checking no. Right? And I'm checking no. I'm not lying, but my record's been expunged. Right? My record's been expunged. It's no longer, now I can check no because my record's been expunged. Right? So those people who receive that pardon, when they go fill out for a job now, have you ever been? They get to check no. They don't have to say, yes, but I have received. No, they get to check no. And so guess what? They can just continue on as if nothing happened. They can continue on as if. What if you continue on as if? What if you began to make choices as if? What if you let go of that dark cloud? The yes, when you check yes, right? You're saying, come on, dark cloud, come on with me. And you're keeping yourself in that straitjacket. What if you free yourself? What if you check no? Exactly, Adrian. Your behavior has to align with your forgiveness. If you are still beating yourself up, if you're still overthinking, if you're still undermining yourself, if you're still feeling like you're not enough, if you're still feeling like you're unworthy, have you really forgiven yourself? And that's what we're proposing this morning. Have you really forgiven yourself? And what would your life look like if your record had been expunged? If you truly believed that. If you truly believed it. Kalita said forgiveness of oneself will mean I can no longer be a victim and now I'm a victor. Have I become comfortable being the victim? Have I become comfortable being the victim? Right? Have I become comfortable in the mud? Right? Have I become comfortable, Have I become comfortable? Have I become comfortable letting myself off the hook? Because remember, I got a record. Because remember, that's what I'm not excelling today. Because remember, I'm not seizing opportunities today. Because remember, I'm not stepping into my greatness. Because remember, I'm not speaking up for myself. Because remember, yes, heck yeah, we become comfortable being the victim. And it's so funny because we want to step out there, but we don't want to let go of that because it gives us an easy out on those days when we don't want to push through, on those days when the world is against us, on those days when the support isn't there, on those days when you don't feel loving or nor lovable, right? On those days when you feel like you aren't enough, right? Instead of mustering up the strength and telling yourself, I am absolutely enough, right? Instead of stepping up to the plate and fighting the good fight, we say, no, remember my record. Remember that time. So that's why, right? We justify, that's the word. We justify, right? We justify the fact that we don't want to fight and we don't want to push through. We waste time and energy reminding ourselves of that. But what if we just check the no box? What if we check the no box? Big Mike, what if we check the no box? And then we just move forward and we release that black cloud? What would that look like? What would it look like if we became uncomfortable being the victim? If we declared, I'm no longer a victim. I'm taking full responsibility for my life. What would that look like? What would that look like if we said, you know what? Never again. I'm taking full responsibility for my life. Never again will I even disrespect myself or the people that believe in me. Nor will I disrespect my Creator who invested so much in me, right? By trying to play the victim, by holding on to that card, right? It's like, I'm going to hold on to this just in case. But what if we didn't? What if we just signed ourselves free? What if we just signed our own pardon? What if we used our executive power to pardon ourselves, to expunge that record? And we began to move accordingly. Right. So what if we stopped with the justification and playing the victim, right? And exactly, right? And we became responsible and accountable. What would that look like? Think about it. What would that look like if we released that, if we freed ourselves of that, if that was no longer an issue, right? If I could go in and apply for the job that I'm qualified for, so I have the skills and abilities, I have the desire, I have the dream, I have the goals, I have the gifts and the talents, I have the anointing to do this thing, but I'm comfortable, as Kalita said, playing the victim, right? Exactly, Adrian. It would look like a self-accountability. Exactly. So that's what this is really about, right? Thank you for peeling another layer back. Forgiving myself, and as we said, forgiveness, just like apology, requires changed behavior. So we can't just say it because it sounds cute, right? When I forgive myself and I begin to change my behavior and conduct myself accordingly, if I begin to check the no box and I remind myself that yesterday has nothing to do with where I'm going, right? Yesterday will no longer hold me back. And then I keep myself accountable to the things I need to do today to move myself forward. Think about that. What would that look and feel like? What could you accomplish, right? If you develop that spirit of self-accountability instead of that spirit of trying to justify every time I come up short. Think about that. An unhealthy and unrewarding safety net. Christ's sacrifice on the cross took away our victim verdict. God, help me be better. Think about that, right? And you know what? Big Tom, good morning. Think about that, right? Those of us that are believers, right, will stand and declare that God, He forgave me, right? We will, and we'll own that. We'll own that. We'll cry those tears and we'll stand in that. And then we will expect the people in our lives to grant us forgiveness, right? We're human. We all fall short. We can back it up with scripture and all that good stuff. 70 times, 7 times you're supposed to forgive me. All that good stuff, right? Think about that. All that good stuff. But then when it comes to me, I'm going to play the victim, right? I'm going to just, and I'm just going to hold on to it, right? Like Adrian shared, right? Uh-oh, let me get some juice in here now. Acting like Sean. Like Adrian was talking about wanting to take the leap, seeing her dreams and goals and things in front of her, right? God, I'm not picking on Adrian, I'm just making the point based on what she shared, but she said she's holding on to the ledge. And we talked about holding on, not seeing it. Your life is right there. Your dreams and goals and desires are there. And you want to leap, but you're holding on. A lot of us are holding on to yesterday, right? Holding on to the excuse of, right? Instead of investing our time and energy in figuring out how to navigate through these particular test, trials, and challenges that are in front of us, right? We're holding on to the thing back here. And it gets really, but if we let that go, right? If we let that go and go ahead and take the leap, that's what I'm talking about, sis. She said, I'm soaring now. Exactly. And if we want to soar, then we have to let it go. We have to forgive ourselves. We have to free ourselves. We have to sign our own pardon. We have to release ourselves from that thing that we've been holding on to, right? What did she say? She said something. Wait, let me go back. She said an unhealthy and unrewarding safety net. Think about what she said. An unhealthy and unrewarding safety net. So it's not healthy. It doesn't do anything for us except keep us small, but it's our safety net. I need a second with those words. Unhealthy, unrewarding safety net. It's an unhealthy, unrewarding safety net. So I'm comfortable here, even though it's unhealthy, even though it's unrewarding. I found my place of, it keeps me small. And then I'm justified, right, back to the word that we talked about, because remember, I have a record. No, I have a record. I would be better, but I have a record. I would do more, but I have a record. Remember? An unhealthy, unrewarding safety net. That's heavy, sis. Heavy. Adrian said, yep, I was, but I'm soaring now. I love it, love it. Kalita said, eagle status. If anyone knows about an eagle, right? Eagles have so they fly, right? And they're special. They're very, very special. I promise. Just give me 30 seconds. And when they're flying, right, when they sense a storm and when they see a storm coming, right, they go above the storm. And what's dope is they have an extra set of eyelids. I've studied eagles back in the day. They're so incredibly awesome, right? So the storm is coming. They don't cower. They're eagles. They can just turn and go the other way. They say, oh, no, cool. Say less, right? They put up another set of eyelids. Imagine it. It's like they're God. They put their goggles on, right? And they just soar above the storm. And the other birds, they can't go where they go. So she said, eagle status. I'm soaring above my storm now. I'm not using the storm. I'm no longer using the storm as an excuse to not be great. I'm no longer using what had happened yesterday as an excuse not to stand in my greatness today. What about that? Wow, yes, eagle status. I like that. I need to go back and re-examine the eagle, right? Thank you. That's probably what anyway, eagles are really awesome, guys. You gotta look into them. They're like, the things they do are phenomenal, right? They're not just cool looking. The way they live is amazing, right? That's why references are often made to them, right? But anyway, so what do we do now, right? We talked about forgiving ourselves. We talked about signing our own pardon. We talked about letting ourselves go. We talked about forgiving ourselves and letting go of yesterday. We talked about forgiveness requiring change behavior, just like apology, right? Forgiveness requires change behavior. If I forgive you, then I'm going to move differently. If you forgive me, my expectation is that you're going to move differently. So if I'm saying I forgive me, then that means I must move differently. I must operate differently. I no longer get to hold on to that, right? That unhealthy, unrewarding safety net. I gotta let that go. And I gotta tap into some other things, right? So how do I want to close with this, right? Remember, my motto, one of my favorite lines, one of my core principles that I live by is, it is whatever I say it is, right? Think about it. We, in the word it talks about calling those things that are not as though they are, right? Talk about God's power and talking about faith, right? We often talk about speaking things into existence, right? There's a scripture that says death and life is in the power of the tongue, right? We talk about manifesting, right? Manifestation, right? That's simply thinking and speaking things into existence and believing something is true. Before I can even hold it in my hand, I believe that it's possible for me, and I believe I'm going to get it. And think about it. I don't just sit and believe it. I don't just believe it and not move. I believe it and do what? I begin to act accordingly. I conduct myself accordingly. Right? I always talk about preparation. When I'm believing for something, I'm making myself ready to receive it. I'm preparing every day so that, what my preparation is doing is aligning me with the thing, because the thing is already there. It's me that's out of alignment. The thing is there. So I'm getting myself in alignment. That's what preparation looks like, right? We have our vision boards, right? And all of that comes down to what? It really boils down to what you place after your I am. Right? It really boils down to what you place after your I am. I always say that, be careful what you place after your I am, because it's going to come searching for you. Right? Meaning, what you speak, right, is going to come to pass. What you believe, what you speak, the thoughts you think, everything begins as a thought. So those thoughts and those words, right, they come to pass. And you gotta watch it, because you'll say a thing and boom, it'll happen, and it's like, whoa. And you'll see just how powerful you are. So what if you say, I'm forgiven, and then you begin to move accordingly? What would that look like in your life? What if you say, I am no longer bound by that? What if you say, I no longer need that unhealthy, unrewarding safety net? I don't need that anymore. I'm going to soar. I'm going to let go and allow myself to soar, right? When I see a storm coming, I'm not going to cower. I'm not going to duck and run for cover. What I'm actually going to do is stand up taller, and I'm going to fly. I'm going to rise above this particular storm, just like the eagle that we talked about, right? Because I am. What if I tell myself I am capable, instead of doing things that tell me that I'm not capable, right? Because when I cower, when I make excuses, when I hold on to yesterday, when I justify me not moving forward, me not taking chances, me not jumping out there, me not seizing the opportunities that are in front of me, what I'm doing is I'm holding on to yesterday. I'm justifying it based on that. What if I tell myself I am worthy, right? If I think it and I speak it, and then I take the actions that align with it, what would that look like? What would that feel like? How would my life be different, right? I do deserve everything that God has for me. What if I let go of the guilt and I stepped into the things that I deserve? And what if, and deserve is one of those words, right? Because deserve means I'm doing something, right? And because of what I'm doing, I deserve the rewards of that, right? I'm not surprised, right, that I have a great relationship. I invest heavily into it, right? I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that my wife is happy. I guarantee you my wife is smiling right now. I guarantee you. You know why? Because I work hard to ensure that she's good, to ensure that we are good. So I'm not surprised. I deserve a happy and healthy marriage because of the way I invest into it. There she is right there, right on cue. Listen, I deserve to have a great relationship because of how much I invest into it. So think about that. Think about if you begin to invest into the things that you want in your life, right? So that you can begin to receive what you deserve. It's possible that right now you are receiving what you deserve based on, right? The habits and rituals, right? Based on the way that you've been living your life, based on that unhealthy, unrewarding safety net that you've been holding on to, right? Because again, when I'm saying, I am a felon, everything that comes with that, it just hovers over me and it takes from me. But when I say I'm free from that, I've received a pardon. Who granted you a pardon? I granted myself a pardon. I didn't need anyone to pardon me. I pardoned myself. And now I'm going to change my behavior to align with someone who no longer has that black cloud over their lives of the past. Well, just imagine what that would look like in your life. If you just changed your I am, right? If you began to take ownership. Look, she threw your praying hands up there. That's what I'm talking about. I didn't pay her to do that. I invest in our relationship. I listen, right? And I make the necessary adjustments, right? I don't just talk a good game. I live it out. And the proof is right there. SJ said, forgiving yourself provides freedom, but here's the point. Everything is forgivable. Some people feel like like not everything can get a pardon, but everything in your past you've done is forgivable. Exactly. Thank you for that. Because some people have that. Some people think that their brand of BS is special, right? Had to say it like that. You think your brand of BS, well, I know it's forgivable, but you don't understand what I did. Let me tell y'all something. No one's past is, listen, I've done some things. I've left some carnage behind me, right? But to God be the glory, I'm standing here, right? So if anyone can speak to what Sean is sharing, I can speak to that. Listen, it's forgivable because you said so. I'm forgiven because I said so, right? Think about that. Think about that. And I'm not talking about my forgiveness as a believer. I'm talking about me forgiving me. That's the tough part. I believe God forgives me. I believe that. Like, I can stand firm on that. But when it comes to me forgiving me, that's when this comes into play, because it's just like, man, what I did. So what? Yes, so what you did that? Are you going to continue to allow that to keep you small and stop you from soaring, right? Stop you from stepping into your greatness, stop you from being a blessing to someone else, right? You might be all that hell I went through is why I can stand and do what I do. It's why I have it in me to help people who've been through their special types of hell, right? So I went through what I went through, and now I'm standing in the gap for someone else, for someone who believes that their particular brand of hell that they caused is unforgivable. I'm standing here to tell you that, listen, sir, ma'am, it is forgivable. Remember what I always say, it is whatever you say it is. If you pick up that pen and sign your own pardon and free yourself, then you're free. You can break out of that straitjacket that's keeping you bound and keeping you small. Come on, y'all. Your record has been expunged. It's time to start acting like it. The key takeaway, right? There was so much here, but the key takeaway, forgiveness requires changed behavior, just like an apology. Don't apologize to me and keep doing the same thing. Keep your apology to yourself. Show me the money. Change the behavior, right? Change the behavior. Don't talk, right? I want to hear it. I want you to take ownership and take responsibility and apologize, but I also want your new behaviors to align with the apology. I don't want your behaviors to still be in alignment with the crap from yesterday. So, same thing with forgiveness. When I forgive myself, my new behaviors need to be in alignment with that. I don't get to hold on to that unhealthy, unrewarding safety net anymore. I have to let that go because I forgave myself of that. And now I need to step into this new version of me, this higher, better, greater expression of myself. And that requires changed behavior. Your record has been expunged. Any questions or comments before I bail? Your record has been expunged. You got to start living like it. Your record has been expunged, right? Adrian said, the takeaway from this session today is committing to change behavior. Absolutely. Absolutely. Y'all go, good morning. Committing to change behavior. That's it. That's the key, right? If you say you forgive yourself, then your behavior should match that, right? Changing the behavior, not just saying something because it sounds good, but actually changing the behavior. I always talk about how I don't have to tell you who I am or what I'm into. You can just take a look at my life and you can see. If there was a camera crew that followed me around for a day or a week, you would see who I am. My behavior tells you who I am, right? So I can talk. I know how to talk. But what am I doing? How am I living? What am I? Am I in alignment, right? Am I in integrity? Are my thoughts, words, and actions all matching up? Walk it out, not just talk it out. Exactly. That's the key. Thank you, Adrian. Lick said, target. Change the behavior will help you feel and understand you're free of those demons. You're forgiving yourself from the leak. Thank you. That's it. That's it. That's it. Thank you. I'm glad you caught that. The behavior change is for you. Because when I change the behavior, that's me telling myself, that's me aligning with, that's me walking out, right? The forgiveness, right? Again, that's me walking out. Forgiveness requires change behavior. So, if I focus on the changed behavior, like Adrian said, then the forgiveness, right? What I'm telling myself is that I've truly forgiven myself. Because oftentimes we say we forgive. I forgive myself. I'm not holding on to that. But yet, I don't make choices that align with that. So I'm looking at myself like, oh, word. If you forgive yourself, why haven't you done this, this, and this, and this? Because what's stopping you from doing those things is yesterday. And so, as I always talk about, you have a reputation with yourself, right? You have a reputation with yourself, and you don't get to lie to yourself because you know you. And so you can say, oh yeah, I forgive myself of all of that, and oh, I'm good. But then you in turn say you're not worthy. You say you're not deserving. You say you're not capable. And then when I ask why, or when you ask you why, it's never based on your potential or what's in front of you. It's always yesterday. So, absolutely, change the behavior to match what you say, right? And watch how your life totally transforms. Anything else before I bail? Y'all done made me stay on here too long. Anything else before we bail? This was awesome. I'll get this video uploaded to YouTube, and I'll post about it if you guys want to revisit it, or if you came on late and want to tap in from the beginning. Thank y'all for your time and attention this morning. Whew, this was exciting. Anything, right, Adrian, that's your fault. Oh man, listen, I appreciate y'all. Thank you. Thank y'all. Listen, y'all already know how it goes. I'll be talking to me. Shoot, thank y'all for listening in. Keep telling myself I'm not worthy and I don't deserve. Why not? My life says, my life today says I am now. My life yesterday, perhaps not. But my life right now says I am worthy and deserving. Why am I struggling to believe that? Because of that record from yesterday. Think about that. This was good, sir. Thank you, sis. Awesome. Thank you, bro. Young boy said I tapped in right on time. It'll be up. It'll be up. There's some gems in here. It really helped me out this morning. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Truly appreciate y'all. Again, if you weren't here in the beginning, I just want to share that these morning videos, the and I quote, I'm transitioning everything. Well, not transitioning, but in addition to me showing up live every morning, The audio will be in podcast format and the videos will be on YouTube. I'm working on getting everything popping. I'll definitely make sure I share so that we can tap in, because not everyone, is free at 8 a.m. to tap in. So thank y'all. I appreciate y'all time and attention, and I hope and pray that changed behavior, right? Changed behavior. Start challenging everything. Start challenging yourself, right? And start moving accordingly, right? Let's see. Oh, you're right. Thank you, Adrian. I can't miss that. Thank you, sweetie, for clapping it up. I appreciate you. You see that? You see that, sweetie? Listen, when the ladies stick together, boy, fellas, we gotta learn from them. They don't play. All right, y'all. Y'all be great. See y'all soon. Tonight is going down. What time? What time? My man SJ from Inner Soul. I can't hit the note like he does. Development.